how does something get drawn to your attention? Like, how do you know something exists or something is a problem? And I say problem in quotes, okay? So I ask this question because there's this, what I consider a myth about color, right? And this is just in the black community. You have light skin. I've heard people say something like, if you're darker than a brown paper bag, then you're not acceptable. Just really hurtful things. But if that were not a thing, and if your attention, for whatever reason, however you were drawn to it, if it was a family member that said something, you saw something on television, whatever the case may be, however you came to the understanding about your complexion, it was something that was told to you. It isn't something that you were just born into this world and it was innate, that you just knew about. No, it's a taught thing. Now, you might say, well, everything is taught, or so much is taught, and you would be right. But some things go a little further in their pursuit to make a person or persons or people feel a certain way. And so that's why I'm focusing on color, because, I don't know if I'm considered medium or dark. I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. I think it's a myth to buy into being darker than a brown paper bag means what does that mean? That you're just thrown away? I mean, what exactly does it mean? Does it mean that you're going to have one less date than somebody who's a shade lighter than the brown paper? I mean, what is it? I'll tell you what it is. It's lunacy and it's ludicrous. And it's just a tool to keep people feeling a certain way. To keep, if you are not awake, I should say. If you succumb to that. I have never succumbed to that nonsense. I hear the talk, but I never thought, I wonder if I'm, this, that, or the other. Right now, we're in July 2020, and I live in Chicago, and it is hotter than a tinfoil roof, or whatever the saying is. It's hotter than tinfoil sitting out in 90-degree weather for 15 minutes, okay? It's that hot. And the sun is really beaming down, and I love it, and I've gotten darker. And I'm like, and I was watching something, YouTube, and some comedian, a black person, was talking about it. Well, I think it was a white man that was interviewing a black person, and they were talking about that. And that's where I got that brown paper bag thing, which is, if it wasn't so hurtful, it would be funny. But at any rate, I just find it all to be ridiculous. I think that when you don't listen to the noise, you pay no attention to the noise, then you're not going to be affected by it. That's just like, if you're walking down the street and somebody keeps yelling Lucy and your name is Tammy, are you going to turn around and look? You're not going to waste the time. That's not for me. That's not my name. I don't need to turn around and pay that person any attention. They don't know me, evidently. Either they're actually calling somebody Lucy that's in the general vicinity of me, and that person needs to respond, or, they're just trying to get my attention and they're calling out a name. And I feel it's the same thing with this. It's like somebody's calling out and they want you to turn around and pay attention. But I don't subscribe to that, so I don't need to turn around and pay you any attention. It's absurd. There's millions of people in this country, in the United States, which is where I live, and there's billions of people in this world. And they come in all sorts of colors. It runs the spectrum. So I guess at the end of the day, it's designed to do something, but is it really affecting that many people? It may not be. I mean, I'm sure there's studies. They have that baby doll study where That's not so much about shading of complexion, like if you're darker than a brown paper bag, but it's about, there's a little black doll and a little white doll, and they give it to these young kids. They might be 5, 6, 7, and they gravitate towards a specific doll, and they say things about a specific doll. Again, that's a learned behavior, and I dare say that that's something that's learned in the house. More than anything, it starts there. Which is probably why I don't have a complex about my lovely complexion.